Mug
Yeah,
shots.
yeah, no. Hey, 4:30 Psycho. The whole deal is in the lower third. This morning, I was going to talk about making decisions with your feelings. I feel like the older you get, the better you are at making, good decisions. And for me, it's disconnecting the emotional, the anger, the supercharged decision making that's more emotional and isn't seated in logic. Good example yesterday. We deal with money and a lot of times super emotional different parties of a contract, and pretty regularly when we have somebody that is on our team that gets to a certain point of overwhelm, being overwhelmed, I get called in, and then I take care of it, because there's worry I'm going to get sued, there's worry these people are going to sue each other, there's who's going to take this money, there's a fight. And I've now at 54, I've disconnected my feelings. I don't let any of that get me excited, and it's something that over time you realize you can make better decisions as you read more and as you learn. Steve Covey was a big one. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He always, one of his habits was think, with the end in mind, right? Like, so if I do this, then what happens, right? Like if I make this decision, do any of you disagree or agree or have a unique perspective on how making, because we're all like, our whole life is decisions connected, right? Bap, 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 bap. We're making decisions, are like habits, subconscious habits. This is how we operate and deal with our life. Anybody got any thoughts on that?
Well, they say we are where we are because of the choices we made in our lifetimes, right? So then I think talking about decisions and choices, it's like I believe sometimes if you talked about before we got on here, you talked about emotions and feelings. Sometimes if you make decisions based on emotions and feelings, it can be more reactionary instead of being thought through, like you said, and marinated over time and thinking through the process. So there's times when I want to react right away and I want to make decisions because I'm angry or you're excited about something and it's spontaneous. And but if you settle down and think through it, I think you're going to make a better decision. So I think I'm in the same ball yard as you, Brian.
I like to play in that yard too, because if you make decisions that are based on feelings, a lot of times you're gonna second guess yourself, or you're gonna flip flop too, and you say, "Hey, I'm gonna do this now," and then you look at it after you think it through a little bit. You sometimes you second guess yourself so much you'll reverse yourself, and that's a really tough way to be in a leadership position too. People want you to be able to make sound decisions, so you definitely have to consider all different outcomes, and then you just have to try to make the best choice and then live with it.
I don't know where I picked it up, but years ago in the 90s, it might have even been Steve Covey, the Ben Franklin technique of making a decision, where you have all the pros on one side and then you list out all the cons. And then whichever list is longer is, it's sort of like a logic based way. Like there's a lot more pros or a lot more cons to making a decision a certain way, which has a bit of logic to it. Um, the problem, with emotional, well, I always look at when there's a stressful situation that requires a decision to resolve it one way or another. I always see my bandwidth as like a desk. If I spend my time angry and upset and emotional, or just like any of the participants in the issue, then I don't have any bandwidth to think of the solution and work through something like the Ben Franklin technique. It's distracting and not useful, if you're part of that whole emotional aspect of just not being able to focus on how do we get to where we want to go.
So, Ron, what do you say, or anybody, what do you say to the person that says, well, I'm making my decisions based on that feeling I have in my gut? It's a gut feeling.
I think a gut feeling is different than an emotional feeling.
I think you have to contemplate a gut feeling because there's a lot to a gut feeling. I believe that there's a thing to energy and having a gut feeling about something. And I mean, that's something I would certainly consider, but I wouldn't make a rash decision based on a gut feeling. I would definitely, I try and be radically open-minded, but don't ignore gut feelings. Sometimes it's hard to read a book on the cover, the cover on the book. So you might get misplaced gut feelings that take a little bit of time or research to think through, but if you have the time to think through something, you should give yourself that time, right? It's I don't know. The older I've gotten, I've made better decisions. They're not all right. Hindsight's 20/20, right? You can look back and be like, man, I didn't go into that partnership and then sell it, 2 years later for $30 million. That's a decision I didn't. I got offered to be in this partnership of a startup while I was a partner in a technology company. And I said, hey, I can't leave. And then these guys took this idea and 2 years later sold it for 30 million. They both made like 15 million each. I didn't make that right turn. I went left. I stayed on course. Was that the wrong thing? At the time, it seemed like the right thing, but maybe it was the wrong thing. I don't know. That would have been pretty nice at like 26 to have done that. But I'm okay with it. It's just a funny story now. But at 27, it was like, I mean, I still would have made that same decision every single time. I would have never left my partner in business and employees to go on to this other thing, as intriguing as it was, because I had other commitments. It just.
And going back to the whole decision thing, if we think about our values and you have clear values, they say sometimes, when your values are clear, those decisions are easy. So maybe that's not as like I'm going to tell you, like sometimes I don't come on here on Sundays because like I feel like, all right, I'm not working on Sundays. I want to honor that Sunday, and I'm a Catholic guy, I'm a spiritual guy, and I'm like, you're probably not going to see me here on Sunday mornings because I'm going to commit to that, and my value is to take that day off. And so the decision is, not to do this on Sunday for me. So that's why you haven't seen me the last couple Sundays. Now, so Monday, we were getting ready to go to the airport and get out of town. So, but anyway, that's easy for me. It's an easy decision because that's my value.
Well, we're at our time. Anybody? So what made me think about it this morning was I woke up not wanting to get out of bed today, and I was tired, and I have this instant sort of self-talk where I'm like, I don't feel whenever I hear myself like, God, I don't feel like getting out of bed. I think about, okay, I'm getting out of bed. I'm not going to let that feeling stop what I'm doing. Anytime I hear myself say that to myself, like, I don't feel all right, And there's articles that say you should consider feelings. Like if I considered feelings, you guys would be like, "Where's the call today?" Oh, I felt like sleeping in. Sorry. But yeah, so we all make the decision to get up. Rob, most of the time for you, except for church. We let that slide, don't we, Ray?
Sometimes.
Anyways, good seeing you guys. See you tomorrow morning.
Awesome.
We got a lot of work done. Hey, Flynn woke up at 8 o'clock yesterday. That's nice. Awesome. 4 to 8. That's a lot of time in there. See you guys.
Take care.